Hey everyone, welcome back to the Police Studio. Today I'm here with a brand new video for you guys. We're going to be talking about When Calls the Heart, Season 8, Episode 6, titled No Regrets. I'm here with my mom, Stacey. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, guys.
So, my overall thoughts of this episode were, I think I liked it better than the past few. I felt like more things happened. I feel like there is a lot happening. There's a lot of individual storylines going on. And I think that they all made a little bit of progress this episode, besides one. And we'll talk about that later. So, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was a good episode. I was really pleased that it didn't focus on the love triangle so much as different people had quite a bit of the story, the time for their stories to develop. So, yeah, looking forward to chatting about it.
Mm-hmm. So I just thought we would kind of go ahead and start out with the love triangle to get it over with. Um, so Lucas asks Elizabeth out for a picnic dinner. But meanwhile, we see that Elizabeth and Nathan are having some more encounters around town. And Allie asks Nathan if he still if he still likes Elizabeth, but Nathan kind of brushes it off and brings up Allie's crush on Robert.
Yeah.
So there's like some like kid drama. I'm not even sure if we'll get to see it on screen or not.
Oh, I don't think so. But
it could just be like things in the background, like kid drama. I don't think we necessarily need to see it though.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth and Nathan are having a few encounters, but when Elizabeth and Lucas go on their picnic date, I thought it was kind of cute. I thought, and that there was an almost kiss, but we all knew that. Youth actually thought for a second that they might kiss.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe this was it.
Yeah, but the promo, I just felt like they would put it. If you're going to put it in there, it's not going to happen. They was really surprising, in my opinion. Maybe, so it might still be a little bit longer. So, but technically they're courting, Elizabeth and Lucas, so they're in a relationship right now. But that might change because she might decide that she wants Nathan, So this isn't her final decision. It is for now, though.
It is hers, but is it Nathan's? So, and we'll talk about that more
Nathan,
in a little bit.
They both obviously still have feelings for each other. Of course, Nathan's is stronger. Her feelings for Elizabeth are stronger than her feelings for him. Of course, we know. Because Elizabeth's feelings, I think, are stronger for Lucas right now.
Yeah, that's who she's chosen, so.
Yeah. But I do like how, Nathan said that he's not giving up. Him and Carson, I kind of like their back and forth thing.
Yeah, that was
about
cute.
The woman that they love.
Yeah.
I also did like the moment with Nathan and Allie, how he's always there for her.
Yes.
And I like those moments and how, Nathan definitely has a lot going on, but I'm glad that he can still be a father figure to his niece, and the adoption will probably be happening at some point this season. So that'll be interesting to see, unless Allie's dad comes in which I can imagine happening right before the adoption is finalized to screw things up.
It's hard to say.
But I like that Nathan and Allie are good for now. But currently, I think that what's good is that Rosemary says that a little rain can help the romance to blossom, and that she giggled, her Rosemary giggle.
Yes.
But we kind of see that at the end, Nathan says he's not giving up, watching Elizabeth and Lucas, so Team Nathan is still in the wins. To all those people who thought it was over, it's definitely not over.
Right.
Which, I don't know who would think it was officially over, I don't know.
Right.
But whenever we're going to talk about the whole Rosemary and Lee thing, turns out that Lee's the one who claimed the dress shop. He wanted to buy it as a surprise gift for Rosemary. And then he decided that, Rosemary would want to earn it and not get it as a gift. So he called Dottie back, but then she kind of decided that she wanted to sell it.
Yeah.
Now, we still think that Jesse has some involvement. We'll talk about them in a second.
Yeah.
But then Rosemary decides that she needs to find her new purpose. But before that, she does kind of get upset at Lee. Do you think she had the right to do that?
I think so. I mean, anytime you make those kind of big decisions without talking to each other, there's room for some distrust and, to be a little upset. Sure.
And I thought, I'm liking this season with them because I think that, they're having, the highs and lows of a marriage. And they're having their own stuff outside of just, being mentors to Jesse and Clara and stuff like that. Yeah. And I do think with Rosemary's list and how it's empty so far, I think this is just all leading to I think this is just all leading to Rosemary maybe adopting a baby, but obviously there's some big steps for her coming along the way.
Yeah.
Also, now to mention this is the mid-season finale technically. Not like there's not gonna be a break or anything, but we've reached the mid-season point.
Yes.
So like for example, Rosemary is like we kind of like got hers. Like now she's, she's really considering something more because now she doesn't really necessarily have. I mean, the dress shop is now kind of going to be in her past.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, she doesn't know though. Her list is empty. She hasn't put anything on it, so she really doesn't know what her next step is. So it's going to be interesting to find out what that next step is.
Mm-hmm. Now we don't know when or if the dress shop will be closing down. We don't know if Jesse has some involvement. Which there were no Clara and Jesse moments this episode, which I was okay because we still got like some like stuff about their relationship because like Clara opens up to Bill about it and then Jesse tells Lee about it. So there's obviously like of course like they're technically like separated now.
Yeah, and then Jesse and is it Joseph have a pretty cool moment as well.
So yeah, what I did like about this episode is that it brought back the spiritual vibes, which we were just talking about last night before the episode aired. We just didn't really feel like there were any spiritual like things left in Hope Valley. I mean, maybe even before Joseph Canfield came in, especially, because Frank's gone and there's no pastor, and I feel like not necessarily that's a Christian show because it's not. But I still wish that we saw them like go to church and stuff like that because earlier on we saw that and like it showed to be some sort of like faith based and then we just kind of lost that, which is one of my struggles with the show.
Well, and considering the time period that the show's supposed to be, the church would be more of a focus for the town. I mean, almost everything was kind of planned from that, even social activities. So it's just kind of weird that it's not that they weren't even looking for a new pastor. So this was good.
And there's like none like of this season. There's not much of the school or the church. It's really focusing on the relationships. I feel like this season we're really like it's like a new era. Like I feel like we've almost kind of like lost some of the old vibes like with school and church, unfortunately. But I think we still have those vibes in there. There's just a lot of new characters being introduced and all that kind of stuff. So it's like Wind Claws of the Heart 2.0, except I think that's still pretty good. First off, Angela falls off of a swing, but it turns out that she's going to be okay. But that kind of gave Minnie, especially, a scare moment. Then Minnie tells Joseph because he sits in the woods alone and prays to God, and she thinks that that's kind of weird. So we know that she doesn't necessarily believe in it. Or maybe she does, or it's just different than what Joseph is.
Yeah, I think his is different, yeah.
Yeah. And Joseph tells her, tells the same thing to Jesse later on, but God, he, believes that God can solve miracles, like what happened to Angela, for instance. That's what's deep inside of his heart. And then when he talks to Jesse later, he says that maybe you and Clara, God is what will help you figure this out. So, definitely, spreading, a lot of good advice.
Yes.
Which I'm glad that he did that, and he's not just, a character who's in the background. He's definitely, supporting people, which I do like.
Definitely.
What did you think of that? What did you think of the whole spiritual thing coming back into the show?
Well, I think that's really good. Like I said, I think for that time period, like I mentioned already, it's definitely should be a part of the show. So I'm really excited to see what Joseph Canfield brings to the show. Jesse kind of references, "Hey, you sound like a pastor," and so there's kind of a hint to that. So maybe we're going to get to learn a little bit more about Joseph's background. So cool.
Yeah. Carson and Faith, we get some of them. Carson got a job offered to go help out with a surgery, do surgery positions. So they were last episode. So now they're just kind of disagreeing with that whole situation. And I think she breaks things off with him. I guess we can say technically right now they're broken up. I guess I would say because he declined the offer and she really wanted to not stand in his way, so she decided it would just be the best thing to end the relationship as it is. But at the end we see that Carson's not giving up either, like what Nathan was saying. So What did you think of the whole Carson and Faith thing?
Yeah, it's hard to their relationship since she's come back from her training has been kind of weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. It just has had a really weird vibe for me. So she kind of was like, "No, you need to go do this," and like almost pushing him, forcing him, not giving him a choice. So
Mm-hmm.
to me that was kind of strange because here he was giving this up for her, saying, "Hey, I love you this much. I want to be with you,"
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "No, you have to go."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which
And
way
like,
this is going to go.
and like, I don't necessarily like. I think that they're cute together, but I don't think I've ever totally gotten on the side of really shipping them. I think that their chemistry is fine. I just don't. I feel like we've seen this story too many times of like a job
Hmm.
offer because Faith has had like multiple job offers.
Yeah.
It seems like,
Yeah.
and now Carson got one. It just feels like there's always like maybe distance is like that's just their thing. It gets in the way of them, obviously.
Hmm.
But like I'm just almost kind of getting like a little bit tired of it because like that's we're supposed to. It feels like all the relationships are broken except for Rosemary and Lee. It feels like they're all like
Hmm.
not together or falling apart.
Oh,
Um,
except for
oh yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
there's one that's budding.
Hmm. But yeah, I just didn't necessarily think that that whole thing was. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what it means. Um, I wanted to say the next thing I want to talk about was Henry's son coming to town, and at first we didn't expect it from their first conversation because Henry talked a lot to him about trying to fix the mistake that he trying to fix the things that he's wronged.
Hmm.
But he's not. But he feels like it's too late to do that because obviously, like him and his son have some bad history. But we don't necessarily get that backstory right away. I think that'll kind of like gradually build. And then yeah, it turns out that he has a son. It looks like he's 30s maybe, early 30s.
At least mid to late 20s, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that Henry is how old would you say?
60s.
Yeah. So like there's a little bit of an age. I didn't know. I mean, some people suspected like maybe like a younger brother, but that's a very big age gap between.
Yeah.
So a son, I think that makes more sense.
Definitely.
So what do you think of his son being introduced?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see, will he become a regular part of the show or what? So it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. It's good for Henry to get some backstory.
Yeah, I feel like we've been waiting all this time for a backstory, and we're finally getting it 8 seasons in.
Mm-hmm.
But the budding romance that you mentioned, there is one between Rachel and Christopher.
That's true.
So, or were you meaning something else?
Yeah, Ned and
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Yeah.
There's two,
yeah.
but this one's also like the beginning of one.
Yes.
We kind of like see some like flirting like through the window.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting to see moving forward. I mean, we don't really know them enough. It feels like there's so many new relationships popping up all over the place. But maybe that's like, I feel like that's a good thing so everyone has someone.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person who doesn't have one right now is Henry.
Yes.
But maybe he hasn't had a love interest on the show before, except for Nora.
That's
all
true.
the way back.
Yes.
All the way
back.
back in season
Mm-hmm.
3. But we also saw that Molly got her hair back
Yeah.
after Clara burned it off last episode.
Yeah.
Also, Hickam was supporting Fiona's business by giving money to Clara, which I thought was kind of sweet. At first, maybe I thought that he was flirting with Clara, but I feel like he would know better because Clara's married.
No, Hickam has already kind of expressed interest in Fiona, so when she
Yes.
comes back, that could be another budding relationship.
So here are all the budding relationships that we have so far. Rosemary and Lee we don't count, but there's Elizabeth and Nathan, Elizabeth and Lucas, Ned and Florence, Molly and Bill, and Rachel and Christopher,
Mm-hmm.
as well as some kid relationships that we haven't seen on screen. We probably
Right.
won't. So like a lot of different like things, which I think is still nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Ned and Florence, and their relationship is developing.
Mm-hmm.
We see that she buys him a beekeepers. Well, they put like he puts a bell on the door so no one will interrupt their conversations, and then she gives him a beekeeper's
Suit.
suit. What did you think of that?
I thought that was sweet. He was like, how do you know? And she was kind of said, well, I pay attention to all things Ned. And she said,
Hmm.
so that was kind of cute.
Well, she said it in a different.
Yeah, she did. She was kind of being the taking the initiative, the lead on this relationship,
Hmm.
because I guess she felt like Ned never was going to, so she
Well,
had to.
we don't know Ned's past. Maybe he has had
We
a
don't.
really rocky
That's true.
past. Like we don't know. Um, yeah, we don't know much about him. I'm glad he's getting some more screen time though, because that cliffhanger at the end, he fell and passed out, and based on the promo for next episode, things are about to get intense. Will he survive or not?
Yes.
But what did you think of? What do you think he's okay or?
I hope so. So for the last couple episodes, he's been kind of having some issues with his side, some sharp pains and things. And Florence has been wanting him to go see the doctor. He's like, no, no. And so then when he comes out and parades and with his bee costume on, he all of a sudden has a really bad pain and falls down the stairs of the shop. So yeah, we see previews. He's in had surgery, looks like, and you know we don't know yet. But
And he asked Florence to marry him.
yes, we see that in the next
in
episode.
the hospital bed.
Yep.
And then it looks like it'll also take a toll on Florence too, because I think this might cause her to look back on because she's lost she's a
Right.
widow.
Yep.
So maybe we'll get more backstory to Florence too a little bit, which I think would be cool.
Yeah.
And then we'll also see Elizabeth and Nathan talking. So maybe this will be the episode where things start to pick back up between them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but next episode, I think, because it's a town member, so I'm interested to see what will happen. I mean, we hope that Ned is okay, but now I'm just really waiting for next week's episode. I feel like the season is picking back up, where at the beginning it was definitely going a little bit slower pace.
Yep.
So anything else you want to say before we close?
Nope, I enjoyed it. Looking forward to next week's episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll be doing our favorite moments of Heartland Season 14 coming this week sometime, so stay tuned for that. So anyways, thanks everyone for watching the studio. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks everyone for watching, and